I recently met with Duke University's Provost and Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Alec Gallimore, who brings a visionary perspective to research and education as a distinguished scholar and academic leader. In our conversation, we explored how Duke Science and Technology is transforming the future of discovery and why research collaboration across campus is more important than ever. Alec, thanks for joining me today. It's one of my favorite topics, science and technology. So as you know, we enthusiastically embrace that initiative. So where are we now in it?
Well, thanks, Mary. Thanks for having me here. I joined us about 2 years ago, and my background, I'm both an engineer and scientist, so this is music to my ears
Right.
that Duke was focusing on Duke Science Technology. So we're at the DST 2.0 phase, and that begs an obvious question: what was DST 1.0?
Right.
Glad you asked. DST 1.0 was hiring top scientists, and we took two different approaches. In engineering and arts and sciences, we focus on hiring researchers in the areas of computing, material science, and body and brain resilience. In medicine, we took a best athlete approach,
Right.
which is saying just get the very best researchers, we'll figure out what to do with them. And we're at that stage right now in DST 2.0. And so what we're thinking about DST 2.0, it's both the destination and the journey. In terms of the destination, what I mean by that is we're trying to identify signature areas that take advantage of the 40 or so people we brought in through DST 1.0 in myriad fields. These might include quantum computing. Certainly an area that's near and dear to both of our hearts is the notion of how do we think about the advancement of medicine in the era of AI and advanced technologies. And what we're doing is we're spending a year working with the Board of Trustees and engaging them in terms of having some sessions with them. We did one in September on quantum. We're doing one on computing focused on undergraduate education. And there, we're not only talking about the subject, but we're talking about new models of doing this kind of research, new ways of funding beyond the federal government, but also what kind of facilities, what kind of programs we need to elevate our programs in science technology at Duke.
So what's been fun for me is embedding those scientists within the communities and having them be part of that conversation of what's the 2.0 opportunities, healthy aging, intersection of neuroscience and engineering. It's just been extraordinary. But for both of us, recruiting and retaining faculty is the way forward. So how has it helped you do that?
Well, faculty members are recruited to institutions that, first of all, have the talent in terms of colleagues, but also, frankly, in terms of students and trainees. They're focused on institutions that have as their North Star wanting to do the most cutting edge research. But there are also a lot of basic things we need to provide them. We need to provide them with discretionary funds for them to do their research, but also the facilities that are needed for them. I know at Duke, we're not necessarily in the expansion role, but there is an opportunity for us to think about how do we look at the facilities we have and double down in investments and so on. And lastly, what I'll say, they're also looking at programs. So for example, we've been providing these interdisciplinary hubs, if you will, to help stimulate interdisciplinary research, anywhere from healthcare to AI to actually mining of the materials that are needed to fuel the energy transition. So those are the elements that I've seen are the ingredients for successful faculty hiring.
So two concepts were very much part of our conversations with potential recruits. One is the realization that almost all science is now a team approach with the most skilled teams of scientists. And the second concept is One Duke.
Yes.
Which can facilitate the convening and function of those teams. Have you seen that play out?
I have. And in fact, at my prior institution, we're doing quite a bit of benchmarking in terms of the institutions we thought did the best job at doing that. And we identified Duke. We weren't alone. Last year, Times Higher Ed rated Duke in the top 5 of all institutions in terms of the ability of Duke University to engage in interdisciplinary scientific research. And I've seen this for a variety of ways here at Duke University in the short time I've been here. First of all, I think it's built into the DNA of this institution, ethos of the people here, very collaborative, very collegial, very much a team approach to Duke, all playing for Team Duke. The other elements, frankly, is actually the setup of our campus is extraordinarily helpful. Many of our here institutions have huge separations between, let's say, the academic medical center and the rest of the campus, in engineering in particular. You can
I can walk out my back door.
right, and Jerry Lynch could do the same thing, and so on. So I think we have the right ingredients to engage in this, and it's critically important now because, as you know, the most audacious problems that we want to address don't lend themselves by school or college or department. They really are when you bring in people from different backgrounds working together. That's where the magic happens.
And then you layer on something like data science, which has to feed all of those initiatives.
Exactly. Yep, that's right.
So you've been here long enough to answer this question.
Okay.
What are you most proud of at Duke?
The people. The thing about the Duke people that I find remarkable, first of all, Duke is incredibly talented. The people here are extraordinarily talented, but they're also dedicated to Duke. People here at Duke really believe in the institution, want to support the institution, want to do right by the institution. And that has been extraordinarily remarkable. The area I see it the most as a differentiator is actually in service. We do a lot of committee work, as you know, anywhere from AI to the future of undergraduate education. And I see faculty members engaging in their work very seriously because they know it matters and they know it's important to the institution and it's important to their colleagues. And to me, the culture, the quality of the people here, the one team Duke spirit, it's amazing.
Passion, purpose.
Absolutely.
And really skilled people.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for having this conversation.
My sincere pleasure. Thank you very much.